Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro friends. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention that Coffee Fest is happening in New York on the 9th of March. Well, between the 8th and the 10th of March, and I will be running a full day leadership workshop on the 9th of March. You can use our discount code, Map It Forward, by going to coffeefest.com and getting your tickets to the trade show. And once you've got your tickets to the trade show, you can get tickets to the full day leadership workshop at coffeefest.com/leadership. This is the first full day leadership workshop that we're going to run at all this year. It's going to be the first of 4 that we're running in New York, Chicago, Anaheim, and Tacoma, Washington, with Coffee Fest, in partnership with Coffee Fest. And I promise you will leave with tools that you can implement immediately after this workshop. I'm super psyched. The first one's going to be in the next couple of weeks in New York. I hope to see you there, and get your tickets now. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro is the first in a new series of 5 episodes on your coffee brand. And I'm really excited about this. This is going to be a culmination of all of the things that I see are common things that coffee brands do that are incorrect. Well, incorrect's probably the wrong word to use there. They are the source of why people see themselves struggle as a brand to recognize their revenue visions. And so what we're going to do is tackle the fundamentals of a lot of this stuff. This is the stuff I dig deep into with clients. And we're going to break it up through the week on a bunch of stuff. So we're going to look at branding. Today we're going to specifically look at defining your coffee concept. But as we move through the week, we'll look at branding, we'll look at marketing, we'll look at sales, we'll look at common mistakes people make when they're putting a business together and as they progress by starting and going into that. And then what we'll do is we'll tie all of that together to give you a little more insight to how it works when that symphony of concept and branding and marketing and sales strategies all come together to make your coffee brand fly. And a really important thing to remember before we kick it all off, this idea of a business is a journey. And it's a journey that's made up of learning how to lead, learning how to market, learning how to sell, learning how to talk about your company, learning how to talk about your products and your brand and your people and define a culture, build a culture. All of these things are a journey. And I want to invite you, if you're considering or are already in that journey, to just cut yourself some slack. Get comfortable with the discomfort of the ride that is coming or that you're having. And remember that this is a journey that teaches you, about the people around you and the things that you want out of life and for your own life, as much as it is about making money and building your resources. So let's dive in. Today, as I said, we're going to be talking about defining your coffee concept. And a lot of people get confused by, well, what do you mean by coffee concept? What do you mean by concept? Why is there got to be a concept? I want to open a cafe or I want to open a roastery. Isn't that my concept? Well, no, it's not. So the idea of a concept, and I'm going to use an analogy to help you, and I use this analogy with all my clients. If your business was a garden, a taken care of, thriving, blooming garden, whether it's a herb garden, whether it is a full vegetable garden, whether it's a garden that's got herbs and vegetables and flowers, that is what the end goal is of your business. That's the vision. That's the big dream of how we want it to be. We don't want it to be a business that kind of sort of things grow, or it's filled with weeds, or we don't everything's just happening out of luck. what we want is a garden that's thriving. Now, in order for a garden to thrive, it's got to have some really important fundamental things. And we're going to draw analogies on that throughout the week. But the first thing that you're going to need, even if everything else is great, you've got amazing weather, the sun's always out, you've got great soil, you've got really good water, you've got all of that stuff. Nothing's going to happen if you don't have quality seed. And the seeds that you use can vary in quality. Now, if you just throw whatever seeds into your garden, you have no idea what's going to come up. So if you just go to a store that sells seeds and say, I want to grow vegetables, person's going to say to you, well, what kind of vegetables do you want to grow? You're like, I don't care. Just give me the kind of vegetables I need, seeds for the kind of vegetables I need to make a salad. You don't get told what the seeds are. You know that there's a tomato in there. You know there's a cucumber in there. You know there's lettuce in there. You know that there's capsicum or peppers in there. And that's going to make your salad. You put those seeds in there. You don't know how to grow them, but you just throw those seeds in there. You just scatter them over the top. And you have the fundamental understanding that if you water this and if the sun comes out and, you've planted them at sort of the right time of year, something's going to happen. You don't know what. If you approach things that way, the thing is, and the best way to say this is, your best shot is that maybe you're going to end up with a salad. However, the alternative to that is to go to a store that sells seeds after you have researched the exact, not only the category of seed that you want, so you want tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, peppers or capsicums, you know the varietal. What kind of tomatoes? Do you want to plant heirloom tomatoes? Do you want to plant cherry tomatoes? Do you want to plant Roma tomatoes? Now, further still, what kind of heirloom tomatoes do you want to grow? Do you want to grow heirloom tomatoes that have been messed with from, are they genetically modified or not? Are you going to seek out tomato seeds, heirloom tomato seeds from someone who has harvested these kinds of tomatoes themselves? My grandfather and his friends, God rest his soul, they used to come together, all the old men in their neighborhood, and they used to swap seeds that they'd brought from their farms in their origin countries. They were all immigrants. And the reason they did this was because the quality of the seeds that they had were much better than what they could buy in the store. Now, if you're putting this kind of focus on all the different types of seeds that you're going to get, or tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce and peppers or capsicums, once you know this, then you can start considering, well, what can I grow at what part of the year? And what kind of soil do these seeds need to germinate? How am I going to give these seeds the best chance at success? Now, all of that extra stuff has come from the idea that you went to the effort of understanding the seeds that you wanted to plant. And that, my friends, is the reason that it is important for you to go deep and understand the concept. You don't just want tomatoes. You want tomatoes that are going to grow and taste delicious, and they're going to thrive, and they are going to go on to be able to grow amongst other kinds of plants. They're going to nurture the plants that they're grown with, and they're not going to completely strip from the soil without giving back to it. A concept with regards to your coffee brand is the same thing. Sure, you can open a cafe. Sure, you can just go and buy somebody else's cafe or open a roasting brand. But But the mistakes that I see again and again and again are the people stop there. They just decide that they want to open a roasting company without understanding the concept behind that brand. And so, how do you start doing this? Okay. First of all, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions, and they're kind of codependent. What is the actual idea behind what I want to do? And 2, why do I want to do it? Now, you can't stop at the idea of I want to open a roastery. That's not the concept. It's not the idea. The idea is I want to open a roastery that does X, Y, and Z, and go as deep into the reason of what the idea is as possible. What we're going to do down the road with that is going to test the quality of your idea. And it's important to understand how to do that. And of course, these are just like 15-minute consulting sessions for the whole community. And so going deep in that is not something that we're going to be able to cover through the Daily Coffee Pro. But if you can't do it yourself, you guys know that you can contact me through the website, mapperforward.org/consulting, if you need help digging deep in this. And there's many testimonials on there that will show you how my clients have really got value out of this. Now, once you've got this idea, you need to understand why you're doing it. The reason you need to understand why you're doing it is because that will help you determine everything else that comes from this. It helps you determine what your focus is. It's going to help you understand what the life currencies of the business are. It's going to help you figure out how, more than anything, which is the next thing. The next big step is understanding how you're going to execute on your concept. But if you don't know what your concept is, what the seeds are that you're going to look at planting, nothing is going to be cultivated. What I see again and again and again is that people have this beautiful idea of what their garden's going to look like. And I promise you, I am 100% guilty of this in my past. And this is why I say, you've got to get comfortable with the discomfort of what comes with building a business. I'm on to my 8th business now with Map It Forward. 7 is Elixir. And Elixir was the first one where I think I started to get it right, when I understood that I got to have a concept. Once I've got that concept, I saw 10 years into the future. Then once you've got the how, then you've got to look at taking this idea and trying to imagine what that garden is going to look like for 12 months, at 24 months, at 5 years, and at 10 years. And go nuts. Go nuts with how it looks like. Has it turned into a park? Is it something that stays a little balcony garden? Either is fine. But then what you've got to do is write it down and then weather test it, if we're going to keep with the analogy. And what that means is, if you have to move the garden because you've moved from where you're living to another apartment, are you going to be able to take that garden with you? Now, if you are in a house and you've decided you've got your veggie garden and you're going to move and you want to take it with you, if you have planted that garden in the ground without anticipating that you're going to move in 2 years, the garden has to stay where it is. Or you've got to go through extra expense to have everything in that garden dug up and put in pots. But if you've thought about it beforehand and you've realized, well, this is what I want my garden to look like in 10 years, but from here to 10 years, at 5 years, I'm going to be moving. And so I need to prepare before I start doing anything for that move. And that is how you start to get an understanding of how you're going to go from a completely bare slate to a garden that is fulfilling the destiny of what you see in your mind that this garden will look like. And it all starts with the seed. And putting in the effort to understand exactly what the seeds are that are required to give you the end product of what you're looking for. I love this analogy. This analogy is how I build my businesses. It was the analogy that turned everything around for me and my businesses. I applied it for Elixir. I applied it for Map It Forward. Both the businesses are doing well. They're both evolving constantly. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't work. But that's the same thing as what happens when you're planting a garden. If you need any help, head to mapitforward.org/consulting. I'd love to chat more with you about what your needs are. I hope this has been helpful. I'm super psyched for the rest of this series. 4 more to go. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.